Controversial entrepreneur Michael Amushelelo has Namibian tongues wagging once more after he invited Namibians to purchase Ohorongo cement from the Germans. He's calling on Namibians to take ownership of their industries, with shares being sold at just 150 Namibian dollars.
Ever since the introduction of whale cement, which is basically cheetah cement plant, Ohorongo has actually been up for sale. First, they tried to sell it to a Singaporean company, which was also blocked by the Namibia Competition Commission. And then they tried to sell it again yet to another Chinese company that is linked to whale, which was blocked again. So the cement plant is basically up for sale again. It's basically up on the market again. So it basically presented a perfect opportunity for me to say, well, why not buy the damn thing for ourselves? I mean, there's nothing stopping us. I mean, it's our resources at the end of the day. It's us who need the cement to build our shacks, to build our houses, to build our industries, to build whatever it needs to be built. It's us who need it. So why can't we buy it? If these guys want to sell, then fine, let them sell it to us. The beauty of Ohorongo Cement is that it's a state-of-the-world-class cement plant. It has a production capacity right now of about 700,000 tons, which can easily be increased to whatever production you want to produce. Right now, they're sitting with over 300 years worth of mining. Like the limestone that they have, we can mine it for the next 300 years. So it's basically one of those businesses that you cannot go wrong. Because as far as I'm concerned, we have not yet discovered any built-in alternative material apart from cement. So for as long as cement is going to be a key cornerstone of building, cement is always going to be needed. So I think this is a perfect opportunity for us as Namibians to actually come together and say, let's buy the thing. I mean, it's not that complicated. I mean, we hear people throwing around numbers. It's going for 1.5 billion. It's going for 2 billion. It's going for whatever billions. Well, whatever amount of billions it's going for, here's the thing. What's worth it in terms of the value that it can bring to us is much more. It's going to be much more than what we're going to pay for it. So the idea that I'm having is to say, if we can come together as black families, as black individuals, we usually come together when a family member dies, and we put money together to buy them a coffin and send them off very well. Now imagine if all the families in Namibia came together and we actually put money together to give the Germans a good send-off, to say thank you very much for setting up this beautiful plant. Here's your paycheck. We're buying you out. Finish and clear. Nothing complex about it. We've set up a company called New Wealth Capital Financial Service Namibia. Now, this company is basically now the company that has entered into negotiations with Strength Cement International. In fact, we've started recently negotiating with their consultant, because they have appointed a consultant that basically is going to be dealing with the sale of the company on their behalf. So we now basically entered into these negotiations with them. So obviously, they want to know to say how much money we're willing to put up and all of those things. And we said, we don't have a problem in terms of how much we're willing to put up. Just tell us to mention your price, how much it is. And right now, as far as the negotiations are concerned, they're saying, well, you know how much the previous price was going. So we haven't changed that price. So we're still willing to accept that offer. So it's basically going for 1.5 billion. So interested Namibians can basically send us an email. We're saying, let's buy this thing. It's simple as that. Because if you own, let's say, for example, hypothetically 0.0001% of this cement plant. If this cement plant is making about $900 million in profits, that's a cool whooping, I don't know, almost about 900 Namibian dollars that you're going to make on a yearly basis from a mere investment of $150. And this is for the rest of your life. And you can just imagine, if you double it and say you're buying shares worth 300, that basically means that's your 1.8 on a yearly basis. You double that to say you're buying shares worth 1.5, 1,500 Namibian dollars, obviously the more you're gonna get. Now, the whole thing about people saying that, but now there are two players in Namibia's cement industry, how viable is this thing going to be? As far as I'm concerned, there are about 54 countries in Africa, and most of them do not produce cement. So why are we then limiting our thinking to only saying the cement should only be for Namibians? I mean, we've got a fish industry where most of our fish is taken abroad. So why can't we export our cement? So we're thinking long term. We're thinking big time to say, fine, when we buy this thing, how do we then start entering into all other African markets? Remember, the AU has been speaking of the free African intercontinental trade and all of those things. So how come we speak about things, hypotheses, but we don't make them practical? Because politicians are good at hypothesis. They're good at selling us Vision 2030, where they're saying we should be industrialized. They're saying by 2063, Africa should be all of these things. Well, I'm not a politician, I'm a businessman. If people want drinking water, we start digging the pipes and the trenches to bring about the water. We don't promise you heavens in the skies. We do things practically. And this is basically me saying, we've got a practical idea on how to buy this cement plant. Nothing complicated, nothing complex. I'm speaking for the marginalized. I'm speaking for those who can't speak for themselves. White people normally stand up to demonstrate against statues. We stand up to demonstrate against hunger, poverty. So you can see we come from two different worlds. Someone is demonstrating for a statue not to be removed. I'm demonstrating for a job, for hunger, for a police station to be built next to my community. I'm demonstrating for a job. So it's two different realities. So I can't be advocating for somebody who already has. I'm advocating for those who don't have. Those who feel that I'm not advocating for them, they're welcome to have their own advocate. Because we own no means of production. We'll continue begging for jobs, we'll continue begging for opportunities while we have the resources. So the idea is to encourage Namibians to start saying, we need to start owning the means of production. Whether it's agricultural land, whether it's our resources, whatever it is, we need to own all those means of production. Because it can't be correct that 30 years later after independence, we've got the white minority that owns 95% of our economy, while you've got a black majority that's 95% that's scrambling for 5% of the economy. That's why you and I, we are constantly being pushed by city police because we're selling tomatoes. We're constantly being harassed because we're standing at Kalahari. We're constantly being harassed because you just want to sell fat cakes to take your children's bread home. Why should we allow ourselves to be harassed 30 years later? And here's the thing, we have the numbers. We are not outnumbered, we are only being outsmart. The 5% is outsmarting us. Because as far as I'm concerned, we the 95% can basically turn around things and then we own the economy. But because for many reasons, we do not want to come together and even just start simple things like buying Ohorongo cement, we're never going to get there.